Hello everyone, welcome back to our new video at Sparklers. We are the makers, and in last video actually we discussed about how you can use VL53L5CX multi-zone TOF sensor with a Raspberry Pi. Now I also explain you how this multi-zone TOF actually works. Now in this video I'm going to show you how you can use this multi-zone TOF sensor with Raspberry Pi to build an autonomous obstacle avoiding robot. Now I am going to use Raspberry Pi for this video, but with the same sensor you can also use Arduino or ESP32, any kind of microcontroller to build this robot. And now before we start, you can ask me a question that why we have to use a multi-zone TOF or in general TOF for this robot. We can also use a simple ultrasonic sensor. For example, if you see in this robot we have a very simple ultrasonic sensor here. So why can't we use this ultrasonic sensor? Now for example, this is HCSR04 ultrasonic sensor. Now specifically this sensor comes with a FOV of less than 15 degrees, which is very less. So the problem is when we have an ultrasonic sensor like this, if anything falls let's say down the ultrasonic sensor or maybe little right, or if your item is maybe little bit very thin, then this sensor does not works quite well and it's not that accurate. It's unable to detect that obstacle properly. Now to solve that problem, what do people do? We normally add multiple sensors. So for example, we can add multiple ultrasonic sensors. So one in the front, one in the left, one in the right, one in the bottom, and in this way we can do it, but that's not a proper way of doing it. Now instead of that, in this video I'll show you how you can use a multi-zone TOF sensor. So instead of a single value, so for example, this ultrasonic sensor gives you a single distance value. So instead of a single distance value, this multi-zone TOF is going to give you 64 independent values, and using these 64 independent values we can actually know what is in front of the car, and based on that we can take a better decision that when to actually turn back and take a different path, or when you can just do a kind of curve, S-curve, you can take a smooth curve, you can take around obstacle and go forward. So those decisions we can take quite well with a TOF rather than an ultrasonic sensor. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can build this obstacle avoiding autonomous robot using this TOF sensor. In general I'll talk you how to design this kind of thing, and all these things we are going to discuss in this video. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe so that whenever we make more this kind of robots. Now this is a level 1 autonomous robot, okay, and if you know there are multiple levels of autonomous robots. In future we also have plans to make more advanced autonomous robot with encoder, motors, lidars, mapping, a lot of things. So for that you need to subscribe to our channel. So please subscribe, and now without wasting any time, let's get started. So before we go to the coding part, first let's talk about the hardware part, which parts we are going to use in this video, and I'll show you how you can build a complete robot with a Raspberry Pi. Now before that, let's talk about a little bit on the multi-zone TOF sensor. Now in my last video I have talked about that in detail. So in this video I'll just give you the link of that last video will be in the description, so you can just go and check that. But in this video I'll tell you in short what this a multi-zone TOF is. So basically VL53L5CX is one of the multi-zone sensors you can use. Now if you are familiar, in the same family you also have VL53L0CX, L1CX, which are not multi-zone TOFs but single zone TOF sensors. So basically it gives you a single distance value. Now the difference with VL53L5CX is it's a multi-zone TOF. So basically it gives you a 8x8 matrix of distance values. So basically, and it has a field of view of 65 degrees. So like if you remember, I mentioned that ultrasonic sensor give you around 15 degrees, whereas it's 65, so it's much more wider. So now we have a much more wider field of view, so we can actually see in a much better way what is in front of our car. That is the main advantage, okay. And also this sensor, actually this VL53L5CX supports I2C, so we can simply connect with our Raspberry Pi to I2C. We can write a simple code and we will get the 64 independent distance values. Now in similar way, you can also get the distance values in ESP32 or Arduino. The process will be very much similar. Now to build this robot, what components we need? So first we'll start with by assembling the chassis. So we are going to use a metal chassis, and we are going to install 200 RPM DC motors, 12 volt DC motors with it. We are going to assemble the wheels also. Now once the chassis is ready, the next thing is we need to add the battery. Now here we are going to use a 12 volt battery because obviously the motors are of 12 volts, so you need to use a 12 volt battery. For that we are using 3 lithium ion batteries, and we are using 3 lithium, so basically it is going to give you around like 12 volts in general. So that 12 volts we are going to get. Now next is, after we get the 12 volts, next is we need to control the motors, we need a motor driver. Now for that we are going to use L298N, which is one of the most popular motor drivers. So that same motor driver we are going to use. Now L298 motor driver will take 12 volts directly, so that's not a problem. But the problem is our Raspberry Pi supports 5 volts, so we need a 5 volt also. So for that we are going to use a buck converter here. Now here I am using a 300 watt buck converter, but you can also use a smaller buck converter like LM2596, something like that. That also if you want, you can use, but I am going to use this buck converter. The link will be in the description. Now that battery will be connected to the buck converter. So from battery, motor driver will get directly 12 volts, and the buck converter is going to convert that 12 volts into 5 volts. You need to just adjust the potentiometer a little bit, so it can give you exactly 5 volts. Now from there you can provide power to Raspberry Pi through the GPIO pins also, but I'm not going to do that because with GPIO pins sometimes it becomes a little bit risky. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect a USB-C cable with the buck converter, and from there I'm going to take the 5 volts, and that 5 volts we are going to give to our Raspberry Pi 5. Now if you are using Arduino or ESP32, in that case from the motor driver itself you can take the, so if you know in L298 there is also a 5 volt converter, so from the 5 volt output also you can provide power to the Arduino or ESP32, but for Raspberry Pi that power is not enough, so that's why you are using an external buck converter. So now our Raspberry Pi is powered, and finally we are going to add the VL53L5CX. Now the connection is pretty simple. You need to just use the 3.3 volt from the Raspberry Pi and also the ground, and then you just connect with the out I2C, and then you need to place the sensor at the middle of the entire card. That is very important. So you need to place the sensor in the middle, and that's it. And also you will have some other accessories like some wires, some switches and all those things, and then your robot is ready. And now this is how the robot looks like. As you can see, this is how the robot looks like, and here we are having the sensor at the very middle of the place. And also if you are looking for this 3D printed thing, so the STL file of the 3D printed item I'll provide in the description, don't worry about that. Now this is a complete car we have ready, and also the schematic you will get in the GitHub repo, so you can use the same connection you have used, or you can use something else also if you want. So now as the robot is completely ready and our sensor is attached, now we can simply get into the Pi and we can see that what we need to do in the coding part. Now let's see that. Now let's talk about the algorithm. Now here we are using a very simple algorithm. So if you look into it, so the very first thing we are doing is we are going to read the 8x8, read the sensor frame. So we are going to get a 8x8 distance grid, as I already mentioned. Now next is we are going to basically compute 4 different zones. So first we will going to get the minimum distance from the top zone, also the minimum distance from the bottom zone, and also from the left and right zone. Okay, so we'll have a like average reading that in my top. So basically the top side basically represents if there is some obstacle or wall. The bottom side basically tells us that if there is some kind of in the bottom side if there is some kind of obstacle or anything like that, and the left and right, obviously left and right obstacle. So we get 4 different zones, and we'll know that in which side we have some empty space so we can go, and which side there is some obstacle. Now after we get the zones, then we check that so this already turning basically is that if we already are turning to some side, then basically we are going to continue the turn. That is one thing. Except that the very first thing we will check is that we are going to check if the path is blocked or not. So if the far, so basically far is basically what? It is the top. So if the top minimum distance is less than 30 semi, or if the bottom minimum distance is less than 15 semi, okay, then what we are going to do, we are going to assume that the path is blocked, because this is our front data, right? Now this distance you can also change as per your preference, but this is what we have put here. Now if the path, the front side path is blocked, if not blocked, then the car will go forward, no issue, because there is nothing in front of it. If the path is blocked, then what we are going to do, then we are going to try to take some pivot either in the left or right side, whichever is clear, because now we have also a left minimum distance, right minimum distance. So based on the value we can either go to left or right. So first, when there is an obstacle in front of it, we are going to try to take a left or right pivot. So, and then we are going to take a pivot for 0.4 seconds. In this way, we will take few pivots. So if after one pivot the road is clear, we will go forward. But let's say you are in a situation where even after taking those small pivots, going little bit left, little bit left, little bit left, or little right, 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 you are still not getting the path. That means you are kind of a dead end. So in that situation, so if you are stuck for more than 2 seconds, then what we are going to do? Then we are going to take a reverse. Then we are going to take a reverse, and then we are going to go to a clearer side. And then again we are going to, and the dashboard is basically also whatever value we are getting in from the sensor, that also we are going to visualize. Okay, so and that is the reason we are using Raspberry Pi, because with Raspberry Pi the visualization is easier. So this is how the algorithm is working. So again, in simple terms, the car is going forward. If there is an obstacle in front of it, either in the top side or bottom side, we are going to try. First, we will try to take a left or right small turn. If after getting the small turn, we get a clear path, we go forward. But if taking small left or right turns does not work, then what we do? Then we take in the reverse, and then again we look for left and right, and then we take a left and right turn. So this is how overall the algorithm is basically working. Now, as I mentioned, there are also other kind of algorithms where there is a S-curve, where you can basically you can be a little far away, and from there you are checking the distance. You start taking a curve, and then you take a curve to basically avoid the obstacle. Those kind of things are also there, and you can actually implement with a TOF sensor. But in this video, we don't want to make it complicated. So here is the simple algorithm we are going to use. Now the algorithm is, this is how the algorithm works. This flowchart also I'll upload in GitHub. Next is, if we go inside the Pi, so I'm already inside my Pi, and this code I'll provide. So this is the obstacle avoid code. So you'll get in the GitHub. So the code is pretty simple. Here we are defining all the different pins we are using. If you are using the same pins as we are, then you don't need to change anything, else you need to change. Also we have the threshold, so the top threshold, the bottom threshold, also the left and right, everything we have, the drive speed, everything we have set up. And remaining we have a UI here where we are going to show the distance values in a map. And then finally we have the algorithm. The algorithm I mentioned, that algorithm is written here. So this is how it is working. If you want, you can change the algorithm. And also you don't need a lot of libraries here. You just need to install this VL53L5CX C types. You can just write pip install or pip3 install, whichever you are using, and pip install this VL53L5CX C types, and that's it. You don't need any other thing, because NumPy and other things mostly comes with Raspberry Pi inbuilt in Python. So that's it. You install a library and you have the code, and now you can simply run the code in Python, and then you are ready. Your car is ready to move. So now I'll simply upload. So the code is there. I'll simply run the code and I'll show you how the car is actually working in a real environment.
Once our robot is ready, it can intelligently detect and avoid obstacles in real time for smooth and safe movement. Even in complicated and crowded environments, the system performs very efficiently.
So this is how this car is going to work with this algorithm. But I think with the sensor, I hope you understand that how much you can implement. So there are more advanced algorithms also you can implement with the sensor. So the movements will be much smoother. Even some advanced algorithms also you can do. So that's up to you. And if you want to know more about this, or you want another video with a maybe more advanced algorithm, let us know in the comment section. So we will try our best to make that video. Now that is all about this video. I hope you have learned something. In that case, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because more this kind of videos. And I think the next video we'll make will be with LiDAR. So we are going to use a LiDAR in this robot, and I'm going to show you how with LiDAR you can actually get a little bit better. So how maybe a little bit more advanced algorithm and a little bit more better movements you can get with a LiDAR. Next we'll show you. So for that, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. And that's it for this video. I'll see you in the very next video.